Welcome back to Leadership, the Secret Sauce with coaches Dave Lipsky and Matt Dodson, where we are delving into the realms of coaching and leadership. Join us as we sit down with another remarkable leader and coach. And today we have Elijah C. here, uncovering his unique strengths and strategies that make him truly exceptional. We'll explore the question, what is your secret sauce and when and how did you know? Unveiling the hidden ingredients behind his success. Are you ready? Well, let's get started. And before we begin, a quick shout out to our sponsor, Character Matters Coaching and Consulting, where they believe that your character is the compass guiding you through life's journey. Whether you're facing personal or professional challenges, they are dedicated to helping you discover and strengthen the core values that define who you are. Dave, what do we have today?
Today we have Elijah. I'm very excited to learn about Elijah's secret sauces, of what he utilizes to be a coach. As you know, we started this podcast because we like hanging out with coaches, learning from them, learning how they coach, what are the sauces they utilize. And this is an opportunity to get to know Elijah. So just starting out, Elijah, I like to do a coaching check-in. So I like to use energy and focus. So on a scale from 1 to 10, your energy level is 1 low, 10 high. What would that be?
I would say my energy level, I'm feeling pretty good today. So I'll give that 8.5.
Ooh,
8.5.
Yeah, like 8 a.m. in California. I think it's going to build. But yeah, 8.5 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt, where are you?
I'm probably at a solid 9 at this present moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say I'm gonna low bar it at 8 because I already this morning we supposedly my brother called me. We had an earthquake in New York, so I'm trying to think if he late April fools me, but we'll figure that out.
Oh.
So Elijah, just to start off, in terms of your secret sauce, what is your secret sauce in terms of how you impact your clients, how you coach? How you see this world?
Yeah, great question. So, I thought about this. I feel like my secret sauce is genuine curiosity and dope conversations. That is what I absolutely love. I'll spend my time doing that all day, every day. And that's what every single coaching engagement that I have, every session, that's what I want within it. So,
did you say dope conversation?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. For those of you that don't know, he's really this millennial leadership coach, right? So that's actually that's how you need to understand, like what in the world? Anyway, this is one of the reasons why we wanted to hear his perspective. And we love that sort of fresh take on coaching to really get to, what it is. So keep going. I love it.
Yeah. For me, I'm just a naturally curious person. If someone says, "Hey, I discovered this thing and this is really fun," I'm gonna be like, "Why is it fun? What made it fun? Why do you think it was fun in the first place?" All of these things, I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole. Only because I have this need to satisfy that thought of what got someone here, or why does someone think that way? Is that something I should consider? Different things like that. I'm just a naturally curious person. And because of that, I really enjoy having good conversations because I don't like to pepper people with questions. I like to really engage with them. And so, this is something to where I didn't know this was a job, to be honest, for a very long time. I was 26 years old and they're like, "Do you know what coaching is?" I'm like, "Nope." Now I do. And I realized, I get to do this consistently, and people want this, and they pay for this. This is wonderful. So I'd say the sauce is just not I really love probing questions, and I just want to, I don't say even get to the bottom of it, because I know there's a lot of times there's no final answer to something. And I recognize that. I think it's just, I really love to explore the fullness of whatever it is that we're discussing, really dive into. If we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. And I'm the guy at the party that probably only talked to 3 people the whole time, because we had 30-minute conversations with each person, and now I'm tired and we got to leave. I'll talk to anybody, but I want to dive in. And so that's probably the sauce.
That's awesome. At the party, how do you introduce yourself to those three people? Like, what do you start off sharing about yourself?
Yeah, I love that question. I would say I would introduce myself as, I guess, you know what, to be honest, depending on the context, I like to kind of feel what I'm going into first. So I don't have the same canned response. So if I'm at a party and there's other coaches, I'm more curious I'm like, hey, I like to coach this population, but I'm more curious what you do because I love learning. But if I'm just meeting people random, or everyday stranger, I'm like, you know what? I get broader about it and be like, I would literally say what I said. I have dope conversations with individuals and I help them grow. That would be the extent of my introduction because at the end of the day, I want them to be curious, like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, I'm glad to tell you, this is what I do, but I think everyone should do it. And I think it's fun to do. And if you want to, we should go do it together. Right. So yeah, that's how I would probably approach it.
Probably, like maybe Elijah, maybe one of the things that struck me, like when I think it was, I looked at your website. It's Clear 7. Is it called Clear 7 Coaching?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Clear 7 Coaching. I was like, wow, that's really phenomenal. That must mean something. And anyway, I just really I got a feel for who you are as a coach on that. And I know that's probably, I hope that's what you intended, because that's what I came away with. Like, okay, I'm really getting this understanding. Like, and it's not just your normal everyday. It's a great example of a good site that gives the feel for the coach. It's not just one page. You're getting a little bit more, and you're getting like, hey, look, I take things a little bit differently. So yeah, it's really, maybe you could share a little bit. Hey, what is Clear 7? Like, where did that come from? Like, I found that to be fascinating.
Oh man. Well, first I appreciate your feedback, Matt. Shout out to Townstar Creative. They're the ones who helped design that for me. They're awesome people and friends I actually knew from when I lived in Phoenix. Clear 7. So the question was like how I came up with the name and more particular. Yeah. The clear was a big thing for me. So I love the definition of clear because for one, it has so many definitions and every single one I like to incorporate within my coaching. So whether that be transparency, whether that be clarity, whether that be, hopping over hurdles, whether that be, anything, I'm trying to think if there's any other definitions. But those are the three in particular that I enjoy bringing to sessions. I want people to always walk away with this sense of, wow, that was fuzzy before, it's not as fuzzy now. And that being my only agenda, right? And as coaches, we don't come in with agenda saying, this is what I need to get out of our session together, right? Because we're there to support the client. But I would say, if anything, that's what I hope to accomplish, is that do you feel that you have a path forward or a better understanding of yourself, et cetera, than you did literally 30 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, whatever that is. That's really important. And the 7, honestly, was just because I enjoy the number and I wanted a number in the title. I just think it was kind of catchy. I always liked when numbers were a part of org names. So I was like, let's throw it in and have some fun with it. But yeah, that was the main reason.
I love that. 7's a great number.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not getting any gambling addiction calls related.
Right. No clear 777s. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, I did not make that connection. I was like, where is he going with the gambling part? All I got was 7 being like a really whole number, like a really good number.
Yeah, that's because you're pure, made of sugar and spice, and I'm not. One of the things, it's interesting, like as I was thinking, when I hear, like Elijah, when you were talking, I love some of the things that you said about dope coaching, right? Fuzzy to clear. I was thinking of like, what's the title of this conversation with Elijah? So like, if you were to like pick a title, like what's the title for you? like the headline?
Ooh, Dave, that's a very insightful question. What would be my headline? Wow. You got me thinking now. That's excellent.
There you go.
The good news is we can, that's a question we can come back to
we
towards
can,
the
because
end.
I have some, I got things in mind, just in terms of how you actually show. To me, I think the word is joy, right, Elijah? I think you actually exude that. Like, I think even the first time we did some training together from, I think it was a certification, or maybe it was something else, and I was just like, wow, you do exude joy. I don't, that is actually a unique quality. And if you brought it to a coaching session, one, I could tell if you don't have it, right? Because it's fairly visible. If it's not there, then it'd get me curious. Why not? But then the other piece is like, it can be infectious, like, and contagious. Like, you know what? It's possible things aren't so bad. And that's why I'm in this conversation, right? I just don't have the perspective. So yeah,
that's right.
How do you see that showing up in your coaching?
Man, I love that you mentioned that, and I can genuinely appreciate that sentiment. I'm glad that's what comes across, the vibe that I give off. I could say, I had a great childhood. I had great examples of what it was like to support others, to have to be in a position of kind of like emotional stability for others, like different situations, like I've seen from my parents. Right. And I'm glad to be that for others as well within my coaching. I would say my style is very much, I get curious, I ask a lot of questions. And as soon as we notice any emotional shift, right, whether that be excitement, whether that be, like a little bit of, I can't believe I'm doing this, or I can't believe I'm here. It's just like, ooh, let's just stay there. And it's not about getting them like to a happy point or a joyous point, because who knows if that's what they need at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's like, be you right now. That's important to me. I need you to be you now. Be authentic now. Be open now. Be vulnerable now. Because I will do that with you. If I have an opportunity, I could be open and vulnerable, I'll share that with you. I'll be very honest with you. And I know sometimes, the coaching practices is like, well, don't always hop in the box, or don't always, be like, reflect everything. And I don't necessarily find myself, like, if they're crying, I'm crying. I don't necessarily find myself there. So I know I can stay where I need to. But at the same time, I think it's important for coaches to be able to say, it's like, look, I know I'm helping you, but at the same time, like, I'm partnering with you. I'm not just the person you hired to get you somewhere. I'm the person you hired to get in your passenger seat and drive in the car. It's a lot different when I'm in the car, not telling you where to go. And that's important to me as a coach, that they feel that I am your navigator in the car, not the guy calling you from the radio. And so if we can have that kind of conversation, we can be that open with each other. I'm trusting them to drive. I'm in the car with them. Right. That's big, because then I can help. Hey, where you at right now? You getting sleepy? Like, what's going on? Like, tell me what's going, like, let me help you. Okay. Well, let me make this observation. What do you think? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. Right. And so it just makes it more fun as well. And I think that goes back to the dope conversation part. It keeps me in conversation mode rather than interview mode, or purely, journalism or mode. Right. I get to engage with these people, and that's so much fun, because then they come away with saying, oh, wow, that didn't feel like coaching at all. I didn't know what it was, but I didn't expect it to be that. That's when I know, okay, that's a win. Whatever they thought, they was like, wow, I just had a conversation for 45 minutes but I feel better. Cool. All right. Win-win. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. It's like, that is definitely, like, I feel like that's part of your secret sauce of, like, the belief in partnership. Like, if people come into conversations often with "I am more than," "I am less than," both the client as well as the coach, right?
Yeah.
And like, how did you know your ability to create partnership, create that safe space for? How did you know? When did you know that that was part of your sauce?
Um, I feel like I've always been the kid that, like, say, walks into the room and they notice the one that's kind of like over in the corner, or they're off to themselves, or they don't seem to be in the group. I feel like I noticed that person, and I didn't like the exclusionary piece of any room I went into, or the feeling of exclusion. It sucks. And I don't know, maybe that comes from, growing up in small town Iowa, being one of few Black kids there. Like, maybe that's a part of it. But it's the sense of that everyone has a connection to something and someone here. There's something that we identify with together. Let's find that. And that's important for me when building the rapport early. Like, what do you love? What do you enjoy? And then I like to, I'm a big what's that, metaphor guy, right? So I'll bring in their experiences. Like, okay, so you like track. All right, cool. So we're running the 400. And granted, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know enough to be like, this is how this compares to that. And they're like, oh my God, I never saw it like that. One guy, he was an offensive lineman. And he was struggling with, he's an engineering manager, and he's like, man, I need to advocate for my team, but it's really hard to find out how to present that to like leadership. And I'm like, what, did you play football? He's like, yeah. I was like, were you on the line? He's like, yeah. I was like, it's interesting how the offensive line never gets praised for what they do, right? Never. In fact, you only get criticized when you mess up, but you're hardly praised for actually doing your job. And he's like, that was you, right? It's like, yeah, well, that sounds like engineering right now within your business. It's hard to say this is what we're doing great because you're doing your job well by protecting the quarterback. But they're going to know when you mess that up. So let's find a way to praise you, because there are linemen we do know, right? There are people that are famous that I'm like, they are linemen. What are they doing differently? How are they standing out? How are they advocating for their team, and how do they make their team more popular and, more advocated for? And so then he's like, oh, I can connect that. And to me, that's big in coaching. It's just easier to be able to compare to what they can kind of see already. And that goes to my need to find that connection with them in some way. Like, I have to find some way that we can relate and be on the same level. Because then that also invites openness and vulnerability, et cetera, that we talked about.
Wow. You know what? It just reminds me, like, that could be very powerful if you were face to face also with a coachee, not just virtual as well. It's just the physical sort of aspect of it would probably even just take it to even more, another whole level of just like, let's stand up and see, let's walk through this challenge, or let's imagine that over there is 6 months. Let's walk over to 6 months and see what 6 months feels like.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, how much of your coaching is in person versus virtual? Is it all virtual?
Yeah, at this point, yes. But I'm definitely open to in person. I think that would be fun. I can't say I've had very many opportunities to do that outside of like the coaching program. But yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I think that's actually most of our audience is all going to be virtual. If they're coaching someone, and it's more rare that someone's face to face, just in terms of where the coaching industry is going, or just the portability of it. So, but I love how you can actually describe, going to places or finding the metaphor that someone could relate to. Yeah. Can we?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, because I think that Elijah, when did you start coaching?
2019. 2019.
Yeah. So I it's interesting, like the ability to connect right, and hear a client's voice and like be present, is when COVID first hit, right? It was like, I resist online teaching. I resist online coaching. I want things to go back to the way they used to be, right? This little voice in my head. And then I'm like, all right, I'm just creating those own barriers in my head. If you want to connect with somebody, can you connect with them just as well with your presence online?
Mm. That's interesting. And the only reason why I pause is because I'm curious if it's the same connection or is it different? Can I connect? Yes. But is it the same? I don't know yet. Because I'm very curious of what in person would feel like connecting with them and saying like, is it the same thing? The cool part is I've gotten to meet them. I got to meet a couple after, like say like coaching, and then it's like right at the end, and they take a trip out to San Diego or something like that. I meet up with them in person. And you know, we continue as if nothing was different. And so maybe that feels, maybe then it would be the same. But I would say it would happen. The rapport building would probably be quicker in person. Just because I think I would have a natural propensity to want to know them even more. I know it's weird to say it that way, but it's like in person, it's like, you know, like you're meeting with someone face to face, like you have this need to be like, we have to connect, but it's easier online to be like, well, it doesn't have to go well. I'm only here for 30 minutes. It's like the difference. And so both of you are having an intentional desire to connect in person, because it gets real awkward if you don't, right? But online, you know, the power can go out or you click off and like, all right, well, I got to go. It's easier to exit a room online. So, but yeah, I would say eventually though, we always build. I just think it's probably faster in person.
You know what? I had a similar experience, Elijah. My coach at BetterUp, Julie, yes. I had never met her face to face. I went to New York, I think, to meet with Dave and some other coaches in a council, and we had lunch. And I will tell you, it felt just like we were normally talking. Yeah. Like I was like, you know, what's this going to be like? And but it is qualitatively different. I think we're always missing. And, you know, I always go to the smells, you know, like the third dimension and the other aspect is not there, you know, just to be around somebody. But it does feel very similar when you finally meet that person and you're having a conversation. You know what this feels like? We're just continuing this conversation that we've had. And it's a more, you know, it's a deeper connection, obviously, because you actually, that's
right.
It's unique. Yeah.
I'm gonna switch it up with another question. So Elijah, let's say you're gonna hire a coach for yourself now, and you're interviewing a bunch of coaches, and you're trying to decide like who do you want as a coach? What do you want them to bring into the coaching relationship?
For me, I enjoy when a coach isn't afraid to go there. I need a coach that's willing to go there with me. What I mean by that is if I bring up a topic, be comfortable with whatever comes from that topic emotionally. That's important to me. Not to say I feel like I have a wide range of emotions within a coaching session. And it may as I continue, but it's important to me that if I answer a question, they can sense the surface level of it. They probe. So wait, so if that means that, then why was this difficult? Like, I need that kind of question. So be like, you're right. Okay. To be honest, blah, 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 blah. Right. And I really enjoy going there anyway. But if a coach can see past like the simple response, or even oh, well, I know this and this and this. And like, okay, if you know that, then what made that hard? Or then what will you change the next time? Because that's clearly not working. I need that kind of like, you got me. You're right. Because I was ready for the answer, but I wasn't ready to do something about it yet. Or I wasn't ready to really understand the depth of maybe what I am experiencing. Like I could give you the cognitive answer, but maybe I didn't have the emotional one. If I can have a coach that does that, then I would say that coach is probably the best one for me. And granted, I think everyone needs different things at different times. But I know for me, I don't struggle as much with being able to be vulnerable. I think that the helpful part is like within the vulnerability, can I navigate where I need to go? And that's kind of, for me, that's where it is. And some people might need help getting into it at all, and that could be beneficial. But for me, I'm like, I can navigate it. But sometimes I need some help. Like, is that really where I want to be at? Someone to check me. Hey, is this where you want to spend that time? Because we're about to spend some emotional time here. Is this where you want to go? Yes. Okay, then let's do it.
Readiness.
Yeah. It's very interesting, right? There's something about surfacing emotions and like what being present to, and then bringing it in, right? And being willing to dive in. Like, how do you do that with your clients? Like, what's your radar like looking for with emotions, and then how do you dig in?
That's a cool question, Dave. So my indicator with a client that's like ready to dive into the emotional pieces, I ask a couple questions to try to see, can you see your part in this? If they can see what they contribute to this, whatever the situation or issue is, if they can see it, then it's I can test it a little bit. Like, okay, what does that mean for you right now? Or how does that show up for you emotionally? Or what does that say? What are you saying to yourself? I usually love that question. What is the tape that you're playing now that you just discovered how you contribute to this? And then they usually say something, and it depends on the level of what they just gave me. Someone's like, I'm trash and I should never have gotten this job. I'm like, okay, hold on. So then I know that's a very deep emotional response, because there's something then that was really, really challenging for them that they're like, okay. And like the gas gets blown off. Someone's like, I don't know. I think it's hard. What makes it hard? Then we start diving in. So I would say that's a good indicator for me. Can they see their contribution? They can see their contribution. I ask, what's the tape? What are you saying to yourself? And based on the level of what they're saying to themselves, then I can say, okay, well, describe that emotion. Let's dive into it and let's talk about it.
That's good.
That is awesome. You are now invited to a coaching class I teach at NYU.
Officially, this is your formal invite, Elijah, just so you know. Hold him to it.
By the way, don't refuse on it. Don't refuse on air.
Yeah.
Just smile.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
even
good.
If you don't.
Sounds like a good time.
Elijah, how about like a few books that you would recommend to us before Dave and I share our reflections? What do you like? What's your sort of choice books?
Ooh, I have this interesting relationship with reading, because I feel like there'd be periods of like I read like a lot, and then periods where I'm like either podcasting or like YouTubing or something like that. So if I get a little hybrid, that'd be okay.
Go for it. Ooh, I love the flexibility.
Right.
Dope. How about dope reading book suggestions?
I think so. I think we need to change the question. I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like, why does it have to be a book?
I know.
Like, why can't it be in like an album?
I know.
Of
It's so
songs,
Gen Xer of me. I totally apologize.
Or maybe like coaching poetry.
We are not doing coaching poetry, Dave. I'm putting that down right now.
Music videos? Coaching music videos?
What are 3 resources you recommend?
Okay. One, I actually will start with the book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. That's an excellent book, in my opinion. why I like it is Stephen Pressfield dives into, big R resistance, why it happens, what happens because of it happening, what you can do about it. That one's important for me to kind of reflect on, to be able to help get past some of the initial, why am I afraid to start? And then to at least start and then dive into how can I sustain it. I think that's what I notice a lot of my coaching is about is sometimes they have trouble starting. Some people are very comfortable saying why they can't start. So if they are very comfortable saying why they can't start, why they have trouble starting, typically you can just spend time just knowing that. I'm like, cool, that's good to know. But what's going to make you start? At the end of the day, that's what you want, right? If that's what you want, rather than just the discovery of why, then that book's really cool. It's like, all right, well, just like find what it is, find the resistance, look it in the face, and then discover more and more about how to make it sustainable. But the start, you have to like tell your body, this is what we're doing now. And I think that's a part that I more recently am learning. It's like, Elijah, you got to tell your body first that this is what we're doing. And then a lot of times your mind can catch up. So that's a big one for me. Ironically, there's a channel on YouTube that I follow called The Future. And it has nothing to do with coaching, which is hilarious. It might like a tiny sliver to do with coaching. It's really it's like a design channel. And the guy, he talks a lot about how to like market and how to, gain clients and things like that. Cause I know we're talking to coaches as well on here. That was really helpful for me to kind of translate some of that graphic design kind of language into coaching. Because he still talks about like LinkedIn. He still talks about, leads, different things like that are really helpful. But just translating the information a bit because it's still really universal. But I really enjoy his content. And I know it's not much like how to coach related, but it's more like, I guess, the business side of it all. It's a very helpful channel for that. He just has a lot of good info. And then I guess, I would say for me, I think it's helpful to pick up a book that challenges your identity a bit. For me, that's like The Alchemist, or maybe it's like your favorite like religious text, or like it's whatever. I think there's an important piece of saying, who am I a bit, and going back to that frequently. So however that looks, whether that's in story form or religious text, I think it's helpful to do that. And so I don't have a particular recommendation for that other than reading The Alchemist, which I think is a great book, or like The Pilgrimage by Paulo as well. I think it's just important to have those moments of reflection and saying like, okay, what am I doing again? Why am I doing it again? And whatever resource does that for you, I think it's important.
Love it.
Those are awesome. And it made me think of one thing. It's like, I need a purpose playlist, like a set of songs that like, I do this walk-on exercise where like, if you're pitching in a baseball game, what's your walk-on song? But maybe it's more than that, right? Maybe there's other, I love what you would say. Thank you.
I've always dreamed of having a walk-up song. Oh man. I've always dreamed it. Oh man.
What would it be?
Yeah.
What's your walk?
Right now, it would probably be Middle Child by J. Cole. But man, I would probably change that sucker every month. It would, because there's so many good songs. But it would just be fun to go wherever, walk into Ralph's or something. I mean, that's a California-based grocery store. Walk in and be like, put my walk-on music on, like Deion Sanders. play my pump-up music. And I just walk in and be like, this is how I want to be introduced to this group of people. I think it would just be fun.
I like the idea of being introduced at a grocery store, which is actually pretty cool. Like they don't do that for me, but maybe in California they do. Yeah.
Welcome back. Matt spent 1935 next time he was in to pick up a set of beans and diapers. Welcome.
And something for the kids.
Matt, what's your walk-on song?
Boy. Okay, this is probably one of my favorite humorous songs that I was Pickup Man by Joe Diffie. Like the comedy kind of country music from the 90s. So something from the 90s. If
Nice.
not, my wife probably told me there was something about not caring. I think there was something that she said it was my walk-up song.
Yeah, it sounds like, good, solid marriage counselor. We're here to help.
Yeah,
She was just kidding. She was just like, hey, this sounds like a good song for you. And I don't know the name of it off the top of my head. So, yeah.
Yeah, if you want, you could share my walk-on song with your wife.
Good. Yes.
For you. Mine is Let's Get It Started, Black Eyed Peas.
Now that's a song.
Yeah, just puts me in the mood, puts me in.
That's it.
I'm going in.
Dave, I think you might have number one right here, because that's the definition of a walk-up song right there. Yeah.
I'd drop the mic if I could drop it.
Elijah, thank you so much. That's really one of the things that we wanted to just spend a moment just to reflect on what we heard from you. And I heard a couple things that I think are really, something we haven't heard so far in some of our podcasts, this idea around, and I don't know, you said it, but it's a level of curiosity that just goes beyond like, hey, I have an initial question. And sometimes in coaching, we'll just ask the initial question, but won't ask and what else? And, tell me, oh, you're interested in that? Oh, well, tell me a little bit more and a little bit more. Because you're willing to ask that and like willing to go there at I would say at a wide range of emotional level, with wherever they go, not really having an agenda for where they're going. And that's what I heard in terms of your curiosity is not just base level curiosity, it's curiosity at depth. And that's what makes it interesting, I think, for even though you call yourself a millennial leadership coach, I think that's fascinating to get the depth at level like of the coaching that's really needed, right? If your client is just at the superficial level and you're like, hey, I'm willing to go there and to go deep. And I that was sort of my reflection. It's curiosity and then some. Dave, what's your thought?
Yeah, beautifully said. I was thinking of what I was going to say, and I was thinking I was going to say to Elijah, like at some point, like you have to stop calling yourself a millennial coach, right? Or like it's just or you don't, right? And maybe it doesn't matter. So for me, the reflection is like you create that space where people can see their own story clearly and believe that they can change it. And I think that's the ultimate power with a coach.
Yeah. It's really good. Yeah.
Thanks, gentlemen. That was masterful. I appreciate that. I accept all of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. One more time. We really, if you're new to this podcast and you haven't followed us or subscribed, we encourage you to do that so that you can actually hear about our next podcasts that are coming up. We have some really great guests and that we're slated to interview as well. We're sure you'll want to hear it. Dave, you want to give our special thanks to our shameless sponsor? Our sponsor.
So to Matt's wife's husband, if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed or are looking for your walk-on song, Character Matters Coaching and Consulting provides leadership coaching and consulting to empower you to overcome obstacles to reach your full potential. Visit charactermatters.us.com and learn more about the transformative coaching. Connect with Matt, and he can help you on your journey. So appreciate, Elijah, getting a chance to meet you. Definitely would love to have you come speak at the class I had mentioned in the summer, and good luck at the upcoming conference.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Man, thank you so much. And absolutely, I would love to, Dave. And you two are awesome. I appreciate your work you're doing, and even having this platform, super, super cool. And yeah, I'm loving it. I got to listen to your other 2 episodes before this. It's just good stuff. So I appreciate all this, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Elijah. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank